Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Love and Science full moon reading. This full moon coming up tomorrow actually is going to be quite loud, probably. You've probably already been feeling the distractions of it. You might be feeling the anger of it. You might be feeling the exhaustion from it already, but there's quite a bit that's coming out of this full moon because it's a double culmination energy along with the full moon. So let's look at the chart really quick so we can kind of talk about it together. Along with the full moon, and just a reminder for you guys, the full moon means that the sun is opposing the moon, and that creates the full moon. The reason why this is a double culmination energy is we also have the sun opposing Mars. The sun opposes Mars every single year. This year is going to be a little bit different because we have Mars retrograde and the moon is going to be conjunct Mars. So there's going to be a lot of emotional distractions happening, I think, in pretty big ways. There could be a lot of emotional outbursts happening as well, especially if you're not being honest with yourself, if you're not being honest with your life. And this doesn't include just you. If somebody else in your vicinity is not being honest with themselves, this could come out pretty volatile. Like, I'm not here to put fear into anybody. You guys, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I don't do that. Like, we take accountability when it comes to astrology over here. Like astrology is not here to give us reasons to act out and then be like, oh, it was the full moon. Oh, it was Mars opposite the sun. Like, that's not what we do around here. We take accountability for the actions that we are portraying in our real lives. If you are holding on to things that make you feel restricted in your life, this full moon is going to be very loud about it. If you are holding on to things that create emotional resistance within you, the biggest journey that we are all sort of faced with is finding ourselves after a whole life of being raised by the parents that we were raised by, living in the world that we lived in. We all have different perceptions of what our life is supposed to look like. And we've all been kind of programmed and conditioned to believe that certain things are true, or certain things will happen if we do this, or certain things, like there's this fear that we all sort of grow up in. And there's a lot of fear-based programming that's happening right now as well. And the more we feed into that fear, the harder it is for us to release what makes us think that we're comfortable. Like, it's so very interesting how certain parts of our life give us the illusion that we're safe and give us the illusion that we're comfortable. And then there are certain energies that happen in the cosmic skies that make us see otherwise and make us realize that that's not the safety that our body wants. It's screaming, right? It's screaming out that there's a different kind of safety that our body wants. And because Mars is the planet of action, and Mars is in Gemini and retrograde, and Mars is out of bounds as well, he's sort of just acting out. He's in this phase of massive distractions. It makes me feel, I don't know if you guys remember, you probably don't, because there was so much going on. In 2020, in the summer of 2020, we had Mars retrograde in Aries. That was the last time Mars was retrograde. And that summer was insanity. It was insane. and the way that things became a distraction for us so that we weren't paying attention to what was going on behind the scenes. Now there's all of that information stored inside of us from all of those actions that were being taken during that time. And Gemini is the information, one of the parts of the information of our chart. And so there's a lot of people talking right now. Oh my God, the amount of people that are talking right now. Like sometimes, I'm trying not to spend a lot of time on social media because the information that we're receiving while we're on social media, it creeps in. It is stored within our cells. It's stored within our bodies. And if it's not the information, like there's so much unnecessary information that's happening right now on the internet that it's really difficult to pull yourself out of that fear mode and place yourself into the safety of your own body. And a lot of Mars retrograde in Gemini is doing that. So paying attention, minding your business, paying attention to every single day. The game changer for me in all of this, and I get reminders of that often from my own partner. He reminds me on a daily basis to stay present because I'm a whole lot of mutable energy. And this full moon being in Gemini with the sun in Sagittarius and Mars opposing, Mars and Gemini opposing the sun in Sagittarius is going to be affecting mutable signs a lot through this thing. And I'm such a mutable energy that sometimes it's very difficult for me to not get distracted. Sometimes I distract myself on purpose because I need that kind of distraction. I don't, there are often times in my life that I don't want to be paying attention again to something that I have no control over. And so the way for me to release that kind of control is I distract myself. When that becomes a problem, when you're on social media too much, when you're watching the news too much, when you're paying attention to what other people are doing too much, you lose sight of where your focus should be on your wholeness. So if you're constantly bombarding yourself with social media and you're constantly bombarding yourself with all of this information that's out, and you're not focusing on your tasks at hand and what you need to be doing in this present day moment, you could easily find yourself on, the short end of tension, like feeling like you're burning, what is that saying? You're burning both ends, I don't remember that exact saying, but like it'll feel overwhelming. It'll feel like there's too much going on. And so I really encourage you guys, not just tomorrow. So this full moon is happening at, it says 9:07 p.m. Mountain time. So it'll be 8:07 p.m. Pacific time. It'll be, 11:07 p.m. Eastern time, and just really like paying attention, not just tomorrow, but really for the next maybe week and a half, paying attention to where you're putting your focus is going to be a really, really big thing. This double culmination is also showing you parts of your life that you're no longer supposed to be spending your energy on. And that's a really difficult task for a lot of people. There are always instances where you cannot remove yourself from a situation or experience in your life at this time. There's always a situation, there's always going to be a situation for other people where if you can't find a way out of whatever tension or whatever release it is that is needed in your life, you have to go through the fire of that. And this Mars retrograde opposite the sun is bringing that fire. And oftentimes that fire, when you cannot remove yourself from a situation, that fire is to help cleanse you. That fire is to help show you your own part, your own accountability, your own responsibility in the situation that you're in. We can blame everybody all we want to. We can blame every single person in our lives for the things that they do to make our lives more difficult. But at the end of the day, if we're not taking accountability for being in those situations or the choices that we've made to place ourselves in certain situations, and staying there as well, if we can't take accountability and responsibility for our parts in that, then there's that delusion. There's that thinking that we're right and everybody else is wrong. And that's the other thing that this double culmination full moon is going to be doing. There's a lot of blaming people. There's a lot of wanting to make everybody else the enemy because you've never done anything wrong in your life. You've never made a choice that worked poorly against you or poorly against someone else. You've never done that, right? So there is a natural essence to judging people. Like, we all do it. I do it. If I see somebody wearing something, or if I see somebody doing something that I wouldn't personally do or I wouldn't personally wear, I have moments of being judgmental myself. I try not to be. I do my best to not be judgmental. I do my best to look at everybody in the space that they're actually in instead of trying to judge them by their life choices. But their life is different than mine. Like I said in the beginning of this, everybody's perception is different based on the way that we grew up, based on the way that we were programmed, based on the way that we learned our morals and values or didn't learn our morals and values, whatever that looks like for you. But there's going to be a lot of judging other people during this double culmination. And so I just sort of implore everybody to re-up your boundaries, really, really look at how you are impacting your life and not necessarily how other people are constantly impacting your life. But yeah, the game changer for me in a big way was letting each day progress as the day wants to, letting each day unfold and create itself in the way that it's supposed to. If that means that I'm supposed to be resting, which I've been doing a lot of, I wanted this video to come a lot earlier than the day before, but here we are. But allowing yourself to rest, allowing yourself to see people from where they're coming from where they're at in that moment, and not necessarily trying to judge them for their past or their, the choices that they're making. And, coming to terms with the fact that we're not all perfect. There's no one that is. Even the masters that we talk about, Yeshua, Buddha, just nobody was perfect in life. And there's no such thing as that kind of perfection. And it's pretty funny because as a Virgo, that was something that I contended with for a very long time. Like, how can I be this perfect version for other people to be able to see me in that perfect way? And it's just not possible. Talking about, so we have this full moon happening. We have a very light trine to, we have, first of all, let me back up a little bit. We have Jupiter direct. We have Neptune direct. They're both direct in Pisces. Jupiter will be ingressing Aries this month, on the 20th of this month. And Mercury's pre-shadow period begins next Monday. So the 12th of December, Mercury's pre-shadow period starts. And Mercury goes retrograde on the 29th. And when Jupiter ingresses Aries on the 20th, the sun will be in Capricorn and will immediately square Jupiter. So there's a lot of blessings coming to us. There's a lot of opening up our eyes and, really helping to push forward towards this new year. Now, Mercury beginning retrograde on the 29th in Capricorn before the new year starts means that we're just planning. I would, in a big way, I would not necessarily say that I want everybody doing their New Year's resolutions. I've never really been a big fan of New Year's resolutions. And I think it's because I don't like to put that kind of restriction on myself. I'm such a free energy that I don't put those kind of rules on myself, especially since every single day is a different and new day for me. So my resolution this year is to just let every single day unfold in the way that it's supposed to be unfolding. January is going to be a little bit, there's going to be a lot of hermit energy coming out of January, I think, especially in the beginning. So, minding your own business during this time is 100% free. It doesn't cost you a dime to mind your own business. It doesn't cost you anything to be with yourself, to sit with yourself, and to come to terms with what it is that you want to see in your life and not what everybody on social media is saying. I saw, sadly, that the actress Kirstie Alley passed away yesterday. And the way that I found out was horrible. It was the worst. She wasn't my favorite actress of all time. Here, let me pull this off. She wasn't my favorite actress of all time. But I remember her, from my childhood watching Cheers and Look Who's Talking, those movies with John Travolta. And she wasn't a horrible person, I don't ever really remember her doing anything that was newsworthy or anything like that, other than the fact that she struggled with her weight, which a lot of women do. That was always in the press, which I think is ridiculous. But the way that I found out that she passed away was by people making fun of her on the internet, on Twitter, people making fun of her and people going to search for tweets to cancel somebody who has passed away, to cancel somebody like her family. She has children, I have seen a side of the human race that I never thought that I would see or wanted to see. And, maybe I'm a little naive about it, or, I've compartmentalized myself so many times in my life where I choose not to pay attention to things like that. But when that's the first thing that's really in your face when it comes to something that you learn like that, yeah, it was, that was quite the opening. That was quite the opening today. And the recognition that people are just nasty right now. And, maybe not just right now, but always. And I can understand that, I'm a Libra rising. So I'm always going to play devil's advocate. I'm always going to look on the other side. I know that, life isn't easy. I know from growing up in the 90s that life isn't easy. I know that growing up in the 80s that life isn't easy. I know that watching my children grow up in the turn of the century and through the 2000s, that life isn't easy. My oldest son was 3 months old when the Twin Towers came down, and that fear, was brought upon us. On the US soil like that. I know that life isn't easy, but even though life isn't easy, that doesn't mean that you turn into a troll. That doesn't mean that you turn into somebody that you wouldn't even like. Think about that. Are you being someone that you wouldn't even like? Are you, looking at all of these people and creating judgments for yourself when you don't even know who they are? People don't know who Kirstie Alley was. And that, that's just an example, but that was something that really was brought to my attention today, how completely awful people can be right now. And, again, maybe it's just me being naive and living in a small town now and really just focusing on my local community and focusing on my life here that makes me naive. But at the end of the day, I don't want to have anything to do with people like that. Who would? Who would? So this holiday season is different in a lot of ways. There's the emotion showing up. This holiday season is different in a lot of ways. And I think the reason why it's different is because there is so much more that we can be grateful for that we don't recognize, because we allow the distractions and we allow the judgments, and we don't take accountability or responsibility for our part in any of the judgments or distractions. And so for me, this holiday season is different. And the way that it's going to look different is I'm going to focus on what's in front of me. I'm going to focus on the day-to-day unfolding of what my path and my journey is going to be. And I hope that everybody can find their peace in that way somehow, because it's not, you're not going to find it on social media. As many friends as you can come in contact with in the world and on the internet now, like I promise you guys, this Pluto and Aquarius, this whole AI thing that's going on, and everybody's using all of their photographs to get AI art done for them. That's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of the way that the internet's going to be changing. It's, and it's not going to be in a good personal, like, oh yes, let's all bond over the internet and like make this amazing, community. In real life community is going to be the thing that saves us. And yes, the internet can be a wonderful place where you can find community, but relying on that constantly and being distracted by that constantly, it's, there has to be that balance in life. There has to be that, you can't live in the illusion of internet time when life is happening in front of you every single day. Okay. And there's a lot of that distraction that's going to be happening. And then the Capricorn new moon that's going to be that we're going to see later on this month is going to be a chilling reminder of coming back to yourself. So we're going to look at first, we're going to see what we have to surrender in. Oh, sorry for the glare. Wow, that's really a bad glare. Hold on one second. Let me fix this. Oh, wow, that is a really big difference. Sorry. So we're going to look at the power of surrender cards to see what it is that we're going to be surrendering. And then we'll do a short tarot reading. Whoa. Okay. Okay, so there are 3 that want to be seen. Oh, I love this. All right. So the first one is surrender your attachment to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen, quote unquote, then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. Man, that's a good lesson. That's something that I've really learned a lot recently, is to surrender the attachment to the results. The what ifs really are a lot of that, the what ifs. And then we have surrender to setting limits. It's healthy to set boundaries in your relationships. Practice expressing your needs and remember that no is a complete sentence. Surrender to setting limits. And this sounds like in relationships, and that's kind of what we talked about, the boundary, right? There's this, the re-upping your boundaries are going to be a really good practice for this full moon in Gemini. And then we have surrender to miracles. Be open to miracles occurring in your life. Feel and know that these events are real. Let go of any resistance. Thank you, Mars retrograde. And banish any doubt that miracles can happen. Surrender to miracles. I love that. And it's so true. You know, it's amazing when you surrender yourself to the situations and experiences in your life. You really open yourself up to miracles that you didn't even know you needed until they're happening like right in front of you. Excuse me, I have the hiccups all of a sudden. You don't even realize that you needed these miracles. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Some of them are upside down. Here we go. Let's try this again. Okay. All right. So what is it? And this energy will last for probably a couple of weeks. It'll get less and less the closer we get to the new moon in Capricorn. I'm really hoping I can do that reading before before the day before. Let's get a couple more cards. Oh, very much so. Okay. So really leaving behind the idea that you have to fight everything in order for something to work, like leaving that idea behind. You don't have to be in that constant struggle. You don't have to constantly be fighting everything and everyone in your life, especially when you put up your boundaries. When you re-up your boundaries, allowing yourself to say, like, I'm just not, I tell everybody all the time, like, I don't have the energy to argue. If you want to argue with me, you can turn that around and go argue in the mirror, because I'm not going to argue with you. It's not going to happen. Like, if there's something that I have physically done or I have physically said that has hurt your feelings and we need to discuss that, that's one thing. But I'm not going to sit here and let you just argue with me when it's fruitless. Right? So the 5 of Wands, and then we have the 3 of Wands, and then we have the Queen of Cups. On the bottom row, we have the Knight of Cups. We have the 8 of Wands, and we have the 8 of Swords. There's sometimes the fighting that you have going on inside of you means that there's some kind of expansion on the horizon. So I always see the Queen of Cups, especially in collective readings, I always see the Queen of Cups as somebody to nurture the emotions and to allow ourselves to expand our emotions. This is going to be a great time to witness your emotions in a lot of ways. And the more that you allow yourself to witness your emotions, the easier it's going to be to define what they are and define what they mean for you, not getting that distraction of everything coming your way. Be open to receiving. I love that the Knight of Cups is here because there's a lot of energy that's going around right now. So the Knight of Cups and the 8 of Wands, there's a lot of energy that's circulating right now. And that energy that's circulating right now can really get us up in our heads with the 8 of Swords. So being open to being receptive, let's say it that way, being receptive and knowing your place within that receptivity. And what I mean by that is being open to receive the gifts that you really want to come in, but not resisting yourself with all of the constant, like this to me is constant energy and constant motion and constant talk, like coming straight at you, right? That 8 of Wands. So being open to receive is going to be allowing people to love you. Instead of using the buzzwords, being open to receive. Okay. Allowing people to love you instead of argue with them. Seeing the way people move around you, not as you having your defenses up, but knowing that you can choose whatever information is coming at you. You can either choose to accept that information or you can choose to say, that's not for me. It's always your choice. You don't have to get angry about that. You don't have to get angry about somebody saying, you could absolutely get angry about somebody saying something, but I guarantee you that's going to cause you to consume even more and drive yourself crazy. This 8 of Swords, you can get out of that 8 of Swords. She can get out of this 8 of Swords. It's a self-imposed imprisonment of the mind. And oftentimes we do this unconsciously. We don't even realize we're doing it. Let's clarify. 5 of Wands, 3 of Wands. Okay. Oof. When you're arguing with people, do you hold on to how you're right and they're wrong? That 4 of Pentacles on the 5 of Wands is very, very, very loud. You could also be fighting yourself to hold on to things that used to make you feel safe and have provided a comfort zone for you. And now that that's changing, and now that it has to change, there's even more resistance and tension. So that 4 of Pentacles, you know, if you're not going to open yourself up to what's coming in, that's nobody's fault but you. If you're not allowing yourself to have more space and you're just fighting against what you want to keep in your life because you think that that's what's best, that's fine if you think that that's what's best. But if you think that that's what's best and then you turn around and bitch and complain about it later, nobody's fault but yours. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. I've done that so many times to myself in my life. I've constantly thought, no, this is right for me. This relationship is right for me. This job is right for me. These people are right for me. This location is right for me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I hold on to it and it makes me more up in my head and it makes me fight more against my journey and my path. That's nobody else's fault but my own. You see? So the expansion, let's see, the 3 of Wands, we want more in our lives. We just do. We want more in our lives. And that is coming from the heart center. The Ace of Cups with the 3 of Wands. Look at that. The more we open up, the more we release. This guy in the 4 of Pentacles, if he doesn't release one of these pentacles, how is he going to make room for this Ace of Cups? And that Ace of Cups is the self-care that we all need every day. It's not just about taking a bath or having a long tea or, you know, yes, can those things be really good to you? But it's also about being kind to yourself. And it's also about having strong boundaries with people. And it's also about being honest about where you are in your life and not pretending that you know better. That's what that self-care means. When we stop fighting against ourselves and everybody else, it's easier to fill up our own cup. Queen of Cups. I feel like this is an archetype for some of us that we need to have this nurturing, loving kindness in our lives, especially right now as the holidays get closer and everybody starts to feel a little bit more tense because the holiday season can be really tense. You know, it's about the presents and the family and the, you know, all of that crap, right? So we need I say that crap because it can really be crap sometimes, but the Strength card on the Queen of Cups, the Strength card, if you look at the way the Strength card is depicted in tarot, it's about this angel who is taming a lion. And it's often resiliency. And, you know, a lion's skin can't be penetrated easily. It's very, very thick and it's very, very tough. So it's really hard to penetrate a lion's skin. So being able to tame that lion inside of you and create resiliency inside of you, and knowing you're doing that by nurturing, not by war, that angel's not using force to find resiliency. It's using love, and it's using kindness. Do you see? And that's really something all of us could use right now. Love and kindness from ourselves. Knight of Cups. Ooh, look at you. Look at you. Some of you are really learning how to balance out your own energies. Bottom of the deck is the two of swords. Let's see if I can, there we go. Two of swords, bottom of the deck. Some of you are learning how to create your own energy so that you can call in your counterpart, whoever that is. The Lover's card on the Knight of Cups. I love this. The Lover's card, I know everybody reads this card as if there's this fabulous relationship on the horizon. You know what fabulous relationship is on the horizon? The one that you have with yourself. There's so many things happening right now where the polarities are good and evil. You know, where the polarities are so far on both sides that it's very, very difficult to find that balance within ourselves and to be able to feel that balance within ourselves. Some of you have the blessing of love coming towards you, especially with the Ace of Cups, especially with, we have this Lovers here. There's a change in the energy, you know, that doing this. But in order for you to be open and receptive for anything to come into your life, not just new relationships, but new anything coming into your life, you have to let go of what you're fighting. When we're on a path to find our own true authenticity, we have to let go of the things that are resisting us. Constant resistance is not bringing you more authenticity. The journey of getting there can really help bring authenticity, the journey of getting to that, you know, and removing that resistance, but reminding yourself that most of that resistance that's in your life, you're creating. It's just, that's the truth. Six of Swords and the Eight of Wands. I love that the Six of Swords came out on the Eight of Wands, because I feel like a lot of us are moving, because the Six of Swords is about moving from rough waters to calmer waters. In our minds, it's going somewhere more peaceful. And when there's a lot of energy swirling around and there's a lot of stuff coming at us and it's really, really pressurized in a big way, removing ourselves from it and creating our own peace from it. That's how we receive. And so a lot of us are learning that journey towards balancing our own energies. And remember that, like, we're all magnets, you know, when we connect to the Earth's core magnet and we connect to each other through our heart spaces and the magnet of our heart spaces. And it's so fascinating and miraculous when one lets down their guard, when one you know, and in this kind of climate right now, it's very difficult to let down your guard. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who's going to be best for you until you let down your guard. And then you can see a little bit more clear each day. It's a process, just like everything is. So on the Eight of Swords, we have the Hanged Man, and the Ace of Pentacles. I love how this reading turned out. This is fantastic. The patience, the holidays can be oftentimes that thing where we constantly feel like we're putting out money and putting out money or putting out money, and we're not getting anything back in return. And a lot of you may be really, really stressed out when it comes to financial things. And this is a wonderful reminder that you looking at things in a different perspective and seeing what it is that you do have already and seeing what it is that the universe is providing for you on a daily basis. It's a wonderful reminder to just take pause and look at things in a different perspective. I love that the Hanged Man came out on that Eight of Swords, because that Eight of Swords, again, is a self-imposed imprisonment of the mind. We do it to ourselves. And reminding ourselves that every single day is a new day to recreate. It's a new day to find ourselves. It's a new day to work with the energies and recreate the path and the promises that we made to ourselves. That's how we find balance. That's how we fill up our cup. We surrender the attachment to results, right? This is surrendering the attachment to results right here. We surrender to setting limits. We allow ourselves to have boundaries. And we say, this is what I can handle. And I'm not going to force myself to fight anything else. And I'm not going to force myself to handle anything else more than I need to. Whatever's unfolding today. And then surrender to miracles. I mean, the offering of love, the offering of acceptance, the offering of balance. And that Lovers card represents Gemini. We're going through this Gemini full moon. There's a lot that can be said to balancing ourselves out and being open and receptive. Opening up your heart. And the way that you open up your heart is you stop fighting yourself. The Two of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Oftentimes I see the Two of Swords as like apathetic. Like there is information that you need in order to make a decision. And that information for you to make that decision is for you to stay or for you to go. Do you really need to be blindfolded? Do you not want to see how things are going to turn out? The Two of Swords can often be a fear of stagnancy and not doing anything, even though it's time to do something. But you can confuse yourself. You can get really, really confused by overthinking that. So, all right, you guys. Really glad I was able to get this reading done the day before, but I wish the best for you through this full moon. And I wish that I hope and I wish for you to have some miraculous revelations come out of this full moon for you. And I'm really, really excited for the new year and what it's going to bring. So I love you guys, and I hope you take care of yourselves and make sure that you're taking care of each other as well.